AI algorithms be the end of creativity in the arts, or can they be utilized to increase our own potential? What do we say when AI-generated singers like Xania Monet and actors like Tilly Norwood go mainstream and harness funding and recognition from big entities? Honey, grab a drink and let's talk about this. This week, a new AI-generated artist by the name of Tilly Norwood is making waves. Tilly is the generation of Ellen van der Velden, who founded the AI production company by the name of Particle 6, which created this character, Tilly Norwood, who is a supposed actress. So broke out, I think it was 2 weeks ago, that there's this new AI actress and she's making waves. And Ellen, who is an actress herself, posted a video on YouTube introducing this actress, Tilly, the world, and that video basically blew up and it was shared on TikTok and various other social media platforms. And people were like, okay, who's this? What's going on? But recently, it's been revealed that the AI actress just landed her first major movie role, and you can guess the reaction from Hollywood actors. Okay? They're obviously panicking. Brought a lot of people into an uproar, with a lot of people asking why, production companies are giving opportunity to AI generated character that doesn't even exist when they could get a real actor who has done the work, who has, all the emotions that a human is capable of. I just want us to talk about it because I think right now, if you have been on social media, you're probably thinking that this story is familiar because long ago, 2 weeks ago actually, or 3, but not long ago, we had an AI R&B singer introduced to us. So the singer Xania Monet was created by a poet by the name of Talisha Jones, was basically introduced to the internet through of her music, which one of them was trending all over social media. And it was soon revealed that the song was charting the Billboard, and then there was a subsequent announcement of the artist getting a $3 million record deal. Now, this also sent a lot of artists and musicians into an uproar, with artists like Chloe Bailey and Kehlani speaking out and, just pushing this whole thing of using an AI-generated artist and even funding that artist. So it seems like AI has lended its footing in the entertainment industry. And it's not just in script writing like it was before, or in idea generation or lyric writing or song generation, but it is now posing itself as actual artists. So here at Pop Divert right now, we are in a courtroom and you all are judges, okay? I want us to hear the opinions of both the defense as well as the prosecutor, okay? So the defense obviously is the people who are pro artificial intelligence being used in the arts, and the against is the people who are, the prosecutor is the people who are against using AI. So I want to go through some popular opinions that have been shared on this topic, okay? So first up is our defense. So these are the people who are pro AI being used in the arts, basically. So a lot of people here are basically drawing a comparison to the time when photography was introduced. So photography was introduced in the 1800s, and there was a major uproar from artists who basically saw the camera as the enemy of the artist and photography as the enemy of the art. And I think now we have the benefit of perspective because we know it's 2 centuries later, over 200 years later, and we basically know that there's space for both artists and photographers in the art space, and that the space has been broken up into categories that accommodate the different art forms. And we also know that photography has also changed and iterated into different versions, where at inception we had people just standing with a huge camera and taking photos, still photos of people. We now have video photos. We have people who call themselves artists in the category of photography, but they are doing what we call vlogging. And so it has evolved. So I think if we had the ability to travel using a time machine, we would go back to those artists in the 1800s and say, hey bro, I think you're panicking. Relax. Hey, relax, your job is safe. Okay. Second point that our defense is making is that they should be permitted as art and they should have their own category. AI generated creations. Argue that prompting an AI model and iterating the responses in order to get what you want should be regarded as creativity, because essentially the human involved in creating this persona has a particular vision in their head that a person has, when they are executing their creativity. So they have this particular idea that this is what I want to do, this is what I want to achieve, and they use the tool that is in front of them, which is the AI, which years ago it was probably a Google search, and years before that was probably going to a library and picking up a book. And so they're using the tool that they have in order to bring the vision that they have in their head to life, and that should be regarded as a form of creativity and therefore be called art. The point that they make is today is not creative. They're just stealing ideas from what's already there, what other artists have created and put out into the internet. So AI is stealing from other people's ideas. So they're responding to that and basically that even human artists gain inspiration for their work from other artists, that this is what it means to basically be a living being or a conscious being. You can't do anything that you call creative without getting some inspiration from elsewhere. So they're saying that whether it's an AI or a human being doing this, it should not be a fuss, because even I don't want to make comparisons with musical artists because that's where my mind was going right now. But even Beyonce, for example, has gained inspiration from certain people. Even Michael Jackson has gained inspiration from certain people. And so they're saying that it's no different when it's AI. It should rather be embraced. Let's move on over and hear the side of the prosecutors. Okay? First and obvious point they raise is that AI steals generations from real artists and that it has no creativity, and therefore allowing it to create and monetize art it generates is unethical, and it strips dignity off of the artists and the art. Also say that they believe that AI should be heavily regulated in the same way that governments all over the world have regulated the breeding of human-animal hybrids. Say that even though human-animal hybrids are not particularly known to pose any risk to human beings, they are regulated and banned in order to preserve the dignity of human beings. They also argue that since AI is now taking over significant human expressions, that they should be regulated in the same way that a hybrid of a human and an animal is regulated, that they should also be regulated in the same way, because now they are a human algorithm hybrid. That's an interesting take. Last point that they bring forth is that art and creativity have been the one thing that human beings have utilized to process their lived experiences, and that creativity and art has been a way to gain expression, to gain freedom, to gain voice, and a way to gain connection to other human beings. And so they're asking basically is allow these algorithm systems to take over that part of what used to heavily define what being a human being is. How do you expect human beings to process their experiences when, the very vehicle that they have used to do so has been hijacked? Before you give your judgment, you're going to give your judgment in the comment section. Which side do you think should win this case? Is it the ones against artificial intelligence? Is it the ones pro artificial intelligence in the arts? Before we do that though, I want us to talk about the future, like look ahead and talk about what could be the outcome of artificial intelligence probably jogged your memory a little, and you probably were thinking, you know what, this is not a big deal. Why are we making a big deal of this? All industries are being affected by AI, and artists just need to adapt like the rest of us. They can generate AI versions of themselves and compete with other artists in that way. I want to talk about that. In case that's what you were thinking. If not, then I want to talk about that. So my take is that we may have access to the AI systems right now. I think we will have that access much longer, or rather we will have access, but only to the watered down versions and not to what we have come to now know as the super intelligence systems. The new artificial intelligence programs are more leaning towards, I think, they past the general intelligence, like creating a whole artist that you are using in managing and they are consistent to the T. I think that's part of what artificial super intelligence is. There's obviously more to come, but I think this is just the introduction. So I think we as the general population will not have access to that for any longer. And I think that right now we have access to these systems mainly because these companies need the data that we are putting into these algorithms. They need the data that we are basically training these models and these algorithms and these artificial intelligence systems on. But I think once they start rolling out the super intelligence, then we won't have access to that. And what informed this opinion is the prediction of Eric Howell from intrinsicperspective.com. And he predicted that by 2030, his prediction would be happening. But I think we can push it a little further by probably 2 to 5 years. But I can see the rollout starting to happening like in the next 2 years, like next year and other years. But he says that by 2030, big corporations will use licenses that give right to interact with AI. These licenses will be the most valuable non-tangible asset, and that only big corporations will be able to afford them, and other entities such as universities, research foundations, and governments will have to purchase these licenses in order to access these AI systems. This means that tech will no longer be as accessible to everyone in the way that it is right now, and that the general population will have a watered down version of the algorithm that is far removed from the initial source code. So even the people who are, the brainiacs who could probably be like, maybe I could copy the source code of this and try and iterate it. They won't be able to iterate it because it's far removed from the source code. Okay, so I think we are safe to make our closing statement. I want to close off with the suggestions that are basically flying around in the internet. And I think one person who sums up quite nicely is Kyle Sabotsky. And he says this in a Forbes Africa article that explores, the use and implementation of AI in Africa. He says that the first suggestion would be to have an opt-out for artists from having artificial intelligence copy their work or even accessing it. And he says that artists should have the opt-out option. And I think this would be good. But I think at this point, it's too far gone. Like, the algorithms have learned so much from many different artists' work that them opting out right now, it wouldn't make much of a difference in terms of the developing of the artificial intelligence, because they've already acquired, that skill. They've already acquired, that style of creating that was inspired, by the artist's work. But I think it is a good suggestion. And the second thing he says is that there needs to be a royalty system for artists to get paid every time their work is used. And I think this would be very helpful, and I think a lot of artists would sort of calm down a little if this were, the case, if they were allowed to claim for royalties every time they see an iteration of their work being present in AI generated piece of art. Yeah, so with that, I think those are very good suggestions on how we can move forward with this and how the arts industry can move forward and probably integrate with AI or embrace AI and the generations of AI. And yeah, but now is the time for you to give your judgment. Please comment down in the comment section below and tell me what you think. Are you on the defense side? What's your verdict? Are you on the defense side? Are you on the prosecutor's side? What do you think? Do you think AI in the arts is good? Is it bad? Why? Why not? And yeah, otherwise, if you've reached this point, please don't hesitate to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos. I also have another video coming up on AI in the entertainment industry. And yeah, if you want to hear more about this or hear more of my takes, then please do subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in. But for now, it's goodbye.